even, you know, it started with armed robbery, then it moved to kidnapping. Now, even with kidnapping now, we're hearing that it's no longer kidnapping itself. They're just using kidnapping as a cover. Most of these people are organ harvesters.
Yes.
How true is this?
I mean, if someone who has been a victim of kidnap comes out to tell you that this is likely what we experience, then how more true can it be? These are the realities of persons who have been in their hands. It doesn't mean that is the sole purpose of the entire kidnapping. There are persons who were kidnapped, they demanded ransom, they collected the ransom and then still killed the victims. There are those whose bodies were seen without certain organs. So it means it confirms that what they say, there should be elements of truth to it. So there are different phases of the entire insecurity. But the problem, the question we all should be asking is, in the midst of all of this dilemma, what are we doing? Or what is the response of the authorities? Because the Constitution clearly says that the security of life and property will be the primary responsibility of government. But this is going on. 52 people or more were killed in Plateau. The president is in France, reflecting on his policy.
Let's not go there. You know that he's France every 2 market days. I just said it now. He goes to visit France, and it is allegedly that it is for medical. This year, yet they are complaining that 16,000 doctors have run away from the country. Why would they not run? So, you know, Peter, let us even help ourselves.
Yes.
Right? Because I did a video when that Uromi thing happened on TikTok. When I saw the comments that people were putting on that thing, it got me worried. It got me worried because there is so much, would I call it bile against ourselves as Nigerians?
Yes.
And it is building up by the minute, by the second. And every time it seems like there's nothing that can be done.
Yes.
People have come out to accuse those people that they were not to accuse, what's it called? The situation, and they're saying that those people that were killed, they were not kidnappers. They were just normal hunters and all of that. There have been arguments around why would hunters, you know, even be in that place in the first place, and why would they be why would they have refused being searched? These are all reports that are flying around. Someone came out today, I saw a video today on TikTok saying that even the people that perpetrate some of the crimes in Uromi are actually people from Edo State, that they are not outsiders that are perpetrating all those kidnapping and all of that. So there is a big issue. Security is a challenge, and yet our government seems to be very, very silent. It's a very deafening silence. Is it that insecurity now, you know, we had illiteracy, or would I call it ignorance as a weapon? We had poverty as a weapon.
Yes.
Are we saying that insecurity has now joined that list, that it has now become a weapon that is being used by politicians in Nigeria?
In fact, insecurity is a byproduct of what you just mentioned. Illiteracy, poverty. There are economic factors that are fueling what is going on. See, Nigeria is in serious trouble. And if we are not careful to nip this on the bud, the state in itself is being threatened. As we are talking today, Nigerian military is in active service across the 36 states of Nigeria and the FCT. There are thousands of Nigerians who are in internal displaced people camps all across Nigeria. Unfortunately, there's a serious trust deficit between Nigerians and the authorities because people do not even believe that these people have the capacity. In fact, a former military general in Nigeria stayed on open television. That is the General T.Y. Danjuma. I said the military, they collude with the criminals. Till today, that statement has not been investigated. Nigerian politicians have not come out of the sincere position on what is going on as insecurity. We condemn jungle justice in whatever form that it comes. But the case of Uromi, you now say there are hunters. People leave Kano to go and hunt in rivers on their way back with arms. I don't know what forest and cash. And then now, instead of us, because we have now fractured our fabric of unity with ethnicity and injustice, instead of us to focus on getting the proper investigation and handling the case of Uromi, people are now beginning to question the killings that have happened in the north. You remember the case of the killing of Deborah Yakubu, Shehu Shagari College of Education, Sokoto, Deaconess Eunice in Abuja in 2016. What was the justice that was gotten for them? So no life of a Nigerian should be more important than the other. All life should matter. But at the base of all of this is a criminal justice system that has failed to protect everybody. That is why you heard the governor of Plateau State, he said the time where perpetrators are set to go free has ended. Meaning there was a time where people who perpetrated this evil were caught and still released. When there is no justice,
they granted amnesty
to Boko Haram, Operation Safe Corridor. They gave them money and empowered them. So why will insecurity not fester? So when you put bad governance, bad economy, poverty, illiteracy, this will be the end result. Absolutely. So you may not be able to excuse criminality, but you can explain it.
So let's start to look at what we can do, because it seems like every time we come up and we talk about this thing, insecurity is a challenge, and we need to declare war against it.
Yes.
If I told the government, I mean, people have made this argument that the president was so quick to declare Rivers State,
emergency,
a state of emergency, and there are other states that are going through serious crisis, when it comes to killing, and that really they deserve to have those state of emergencies, and yet we're not seeing all of those actions. So if we want to even start to decipher a way forward towards the insecurity that we face in Nigeria, right? Poverty,
yes,
economic hardship, weak governance, the ethnic strife that you talked about, these are all the mixture, the cocktail that is bringing about high level of insecurity. So how do we start to solve this problem?
The one question or the one answer is simple. You have to reform your government. Until you have government that is sincere in purpose and is competent, has the political will to address the root causes of the issues, you are not doing anything. President Tinubu did not declare state of emergency in Rivers because he believes it is legal. He did not declare because he believes it is illegal. It is we who are debating the legality of illegality. He declared it because he can do it and nothing will happen, and it fits into his political calculations. That is the simple thing. So when you talk about handling insecurity, other places that are seeing the continuous killings of Nigerians have not gotten that same attention because politically the calculation have not gotten there. If we want to handle the case of insecurity, Nigeria's security apparatus is created to protect the political elites and the rich in the society. Nigeria has a police force of about 400,000. About 200,000 of them are protecting politicians and their families. Who is left to protect other people? Mommy Joe and Daddy Joe in the church. Imam, Sheikh, Emir, traditional rulers, Olori, Kabiyesi, they won't carry purse for them and all that. In Nigeria, if you are a Yahoo boy and you make small change, you can carry two mopo, follow you, they go everywhere where they go. So who is left to protect the people? What is our strength in intelligence gathering as a people? If peaceful protesters come out tomorrow, say we want to protest against end bad governance, police will have intelligence. But when it comes to criminality and kidnappers, there is no intelligence. So the root cause of it is that there is a lack of sincerity of people on the part of the leaders. They are yet, is it ethno-religious? Is it just criminality? Is it just the poverty and the illiteracy that is fueling all of this? Until you identify the root cause of it and begin to work on it, you cannot have anything. The National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, stated clearly that majority of the arms that are used by these criminals are arms that are stolen from government weaponry. That is, criminals have access to government weapons, are using it to kill citizens, and the government cannot protect anybody. So it is either the leaders are trying to get the solution or they are part of the problem. And you cannot use problem to solve problem. Nigerians will have to get an electoral system that gives them opportunity to elect leaders that are competent and sincere in purpose. That is the beginning of the... If not all this one we are talking, we go still talk.
So the electoral system is good. Peter, you and I have had this conversation. Electoral system is good. Fantastic.
Yeah.
But you see, I want us to get to that point in Nigeria where we don't need to choose between the devil and the deep blue sea.
Yeah.
It means that political parties, at the political party level, we need to start having the right set of people in political parties.
Yes.
So how do we get there? Because you see, at the polling unit, I always argue that it is already too late. Because at that point, you are not trying to choose between who has the lesser evil.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Who will do better? You get my point. At that point, it's already too late. And if you now, God now bless you, you now have the leader that has zero, zero respect for rule of law. What would you see? You continue to see some of these things happening. I mean, we've shouted and shouted and shouted that it seems like our judiciary in Nigeria is compromised. Look at what is happening at the legislative arm of our government, right? It seems like nothing is going on. Right? There's just all of those issues. I feel like until we start to intentionally put the right people in political parties, so it is no longer a choice between the devil and the deep blue. We are picking between a good and a better candidate. Do you understand? Yeah. Maybe that way we might find a solution. But you see, electoral system is great, but I don't think that where we are right now, with the structure that has been created, I don't see political leaders trying to change that status quo, because they need it to continue their, whatever plans it is that they have for Nigeria.
Look, thank you very much. That electoral reform is all encompassing, including from the political party level. And it is the silver bullet for Nigerians. If Nigerians do not believe that you can put maximum pressure on authorities to effect change in the electoral system, what do you think that you can change? That is the magic. What is going on in Nigeria today is absolute state capture, where every institution of democracy will be controlled by one man or a group of persons. If you want to see where it has been implemented before, look at Lagos. There will be no meaningful opposition. The National Assembly see themselves as an extension of the executive. They are there to do the bidding of the executive arm of government. The judiciary is already... Nigeria does not even have a judiciary. We have the legal department of every government in power. Institutions are being weaponized against the people. You saw the case of Senator Natasha. The idea about electoral reform is that it is the first system of accountability. Once you are able to build a system where a person knows that when you get into office and you fail to deliver, by 4 years that same system can take you out, that person will have no choice than to sit up. What is the incentive for doing bad or doing good as a Nigerian politician? As bad as Buhari was, he did 8 years and he was able to install a successor. So when you see me talking about electoral reform, it includes that party primary level that you are talking about. Because if you don't reform it, a president signed not too young to run, not too old to young or whatever it is, but you are also not too rich to run. Because form is 100 million. Where do you want to start from? So that electoral act is all encompassing. Because I have evaluated the entire process. Election and INEC are the weapon formed against Nigerians. And if all of us start to sing the song, even politicians, they know. Try to begin any protest in Nigeria, say you are talking about end bad governance, bring down cost of fuel. The president will come out and say, don't worry, we will share rice, we will do this. But let President Tinubu come out and commit to free and fair elections. It will almost be impossible. That is why you must insist on it. Because they know that is the only hope they have. Corrupt election.
But we are already used to rigging in this country.
We cannot be used to it.
No, rigging is part of us in this country.
It cannot.
I'm telling you, Peter, even the best of the best that we think are saints in this country, they've been rigged into power.
Yes.
So what are we saying?
That is why that best of the best and the people who have tasted and seen. Look at a person like Professor Yomi Oshibanjo. What will now happen in Nigeria will be the enemy of your enemy will have to be your friend. The group of persons who have been disenfranchised by the process will have to come together and build the system. INEC already, the National Assembly, they know what they did with that electoral act. They made electronic transfer of results optional for INEC. You need to go back and tell them to make it mandatory. That is what the Supreme Court told them in the judgment.
The system will shut down.
The system will shut down. You must mount on it. See, whatever you want to achieve as a country will take courage and wisdom. If Nigerians do not believe that you can fix election, you can't fix anything, then let all of us relax and continue to get killed. If your day rich, bandits kill you or kidnapper carry you. If hospital work, you no work. If you go the oxygen day. If school, they rape you, there is no justice. Let us sit down and relax. But if we know that we are ready to solve problem, it has to begin with that courage.
In the 2024 fiscal year, Nigeria allocated a significant portion of its budget to security-related sectors. Defense and security sector was allocated about 3.25 trillion, representing approximately 12% of the total budget. Ministry of Defense received about 1.3 trillion, marking it as the ministry with the highest allocation. This was from Daily Post in Nigeria. Then Ministry of Police Affairs was allocated 869.121 billion. Now it says, despite these substantial allocation, concerns have been raised regarding the effectiveness of these funds in addressing Nigeria's security challenges. For instance, some of the agencies such as the National Security Advisor and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission experienced budget reduction compared to the previous year. It's on and on and on. It was Abacha that was quoted to have said that if insecurity or insurgency, it lasts beyond 24 hours, that there is government
hand in it.
Not be me talker, na Abacha talker.
Yes.
So in case now for the fine person I want arrest, una go carry Abacha. But that was what he said. Do you know that I sat down and I got myself, I was thinking it deeply. Is it possible for the way insecurity has taken a very, it's not just it's a bracing, you know when somebody you bold, you know say nobody go touch you. The way they've taken a position in this country, is it possible to ignore that comment that was made by Abacha? Given that all of this income, somebody has said it to me before, that as at the time where Boko Haram started, in Jonathan's era, one of the JTF members came and bought a house in Banana Island. So is it that the government is intentionally turning a blind eye to insecurity, or they are genuinely handicapped in solving our insecurity challenges in Nigeria?
It is either you are handicapped or you are an accomplice. It is difficult to discountenance that statement, especially with the reality of everything we are doing. We have seen. How many times under the Buhari government did the administration come out to tell you that they have the names of people who are sponsoring Boko Haram and terrorism? Who released the list? Why is government shielding them? Why has nobody come out to tell you that from our intelligence, this and this are the people? Just like the case of oil bunkering in Nigeria, anywhere you see sophisticated crime, you cannot remove the hand of players in the government. A private citizen, you cannot carry a vessel into creek to go and pack oil. With Navy, with Air Force, and everybody who is guiding the place. There must be somebody, an insider, who is helping. The National Security Advisor said majority of the arms used by these bandits and criminals are stolen weapons from government weaponry, armory. You don't get it. How did they get access to it? That is, criminals are able to overrun the armory of the states to take their weapons and go and slaughter other Nigerians. Until date, we do not have a solution to the problem. No, it is either you have the solution or you are part of the problem. Nigerian leaders are not sincere with what is going on within security. Plateau dates back more than 20 years ago. Benue. What exactly is not being said about insecurity? That is where the problem lies. When you see government running from pillar to post, the president will come out, give one lame statement. We will arrest them. We will fish them down. Tomorrow, have you forgotten a time in Nigeria about 4 years or 3 years ago, police intelligence unit went to go and arrest a kidnapper somewhere in Taraba, somebody Wadume. Military officers went and opened fire on the convoy, killing some of the officers and somehow released the kidnapper from there. Today, where is that kidnapper? Nigerian military attack Nigeria police and release kidnapper. And you say there is no hand of government anywhere. Nigerian politicians are deceiving themselves. And Nigerians are the fools or the pawns in all of this. Until we begin to rise up and insert ourselves in the conversation, it will be turn by turn Nigeria. The day it happened in Plateau, they say, oh, now 50 people. Until one day, God forbid, you also become the statistics that is being mentioned. They are not honest. There is more to it. The more money you put in it, insecurity is the most profitable enterprise in Nigeria today. Absolutely. The only sector that is doing well in Nigeria is corruption and criminality. So how will it end when you are pumping billions and millions into the whole sector? People are becoming overnight billionaires from insecurity. Nigeria is in serious trouble. Serious trouble. This issue of insecurity, we are talking like a joke, so there is more that the government needs to do. And if they are not ready to do it, the people must wake up and put the pressure that they need to put to save our own lives. Because it always seems far until it comes close to home.
So how do we start this process? Because you see, if you notice, I think it was the second tenure for President Buhari last year. it was constant news that we were hearing in the news every day. Customs seized a truckload of ammunition. There was a time it was bullets. There were a time it were guns and all of that. I kept on asking myself, where are all these ammunitions going to? And first of all, who are the people? You know, because, I mean, you can't ship in anything into Nigeria without proper documentation. So is it that they were not able to trace where these things are coming from, or exactly how did that transaction happen? And where are the ammunitions? Where did it end up? Secondly, we know that for every election cycle, politicians release ammunitions to their touts. You understand? And most of the time, I've heard reports that they are unable to recover those ammunitions back. And because eventually they use them and dump them, those ones use the ammunition to be able to go and perpetuate evil. It's a vicious cycle.
Yes.
So if you say that citizens are the ones that need to wake up, right, to fight this war, because we need to declare war against insecurity in Nigeria.
Yes.
It's either we do that or insecurity will come and meet us in our
doorstep. Yes.
So how do we start to declare war against insecurity in Nigeria?
The question Nigerians will ask themselves is, what exactly is the value of a Nigerian life in Nigeria today? What is it worth? 52 people were killed in a state. The president is reflecting about his policies in a foreign country. If cows of herdsmen are killed, you will see Mieti Allah will come out and put out a statement. If we decide that as a people, we have accepted our fate, that there is no value or dignity to the Nigerian life, we can keep quiet and wait for your turn. Tomorrow it is Ondo. Next tomorrow, look at one of the Afenifere leaders, Paru Ben Fashoronti. You remember his daughter, the poor woman who had lived all her life overseas. She came to attend an event. She was carried by herdsmen and they killed that poor lady. So you think that it does not come close to you until it strikes you. There are people from the east today in Nigeria who cannot go to their villages to go and attend anything. They are stuck in other cities.
Even in Benue, they can't go to their farms.
They can't go to their farms. And then you are talking of why there is hunger and everything. Farmers cannot go. They are being slaughtered. So all of us will have to ask ourselves the question, are we worth the life that we have? Do we really want to dignify the Nigerian life? Imagine 50 US citizens killed by not hurricane, earthquake, internal security. Somebody went and slaughtered, and the president of America is in another country, reflecting on his policies. Nigerians have become so used to bad governance that we have accepted our fate. So we have become docile. There is maximum frustration in Nigeria, but the question is, with your frustration, what is the action? Anger is not a plan.
So what is the action?
All of us must decide to begin to get good leadership. And it must come back to this issue of INEC. You cannot do, if you do a revolution today, because you hear some people shout revolution now, if you chase President Tinubu or any other person in government who takes over, you must go back to the electoral system, because that is the only system that will bring a government that will have legitimacy to rule. So whether or not you like, look at what happened in Bangladesh. You protest, you went there.
So these reforms that you are asking for, who is in charge of doing the reform? Is it not your National Assembly?
It is the National Assembly.
So what are we saying?
That is where men must mount. That is where the focus must be. The protests that will happen in Nigeria, that will change Nigeria, will be in the National Assembly. It is not the Senate President's house. It is the People's Parliament. Whatever change you want from your constitution or from your laws will be gotten there. And if the people are not ready to give it to you willingly, you must exert pressure, maximum civil pressure, peacefully, as democratic fundamental human right, to get what you want. Other than that, until Nigerian politicians, the people in power, begin to become afraid of the power of the people, Nigeria will not change. For as long as we are the ones who are afraid of them, we will continue in this suffering and killing. Unfortunately, they are protected and insulated. On the next, if a war happens or any natural disaster, they have private jets that are parking. Their children are not even here. So if you begin to think of that and you think of our lives, then we must get the wisdom and courage. We no wonder. Nigerians are dying. You know, one protest. People are dying without protest. The ones who killed, they killed in Plateau, were they protesting against government? We must protest peacefully and demand for change. It doesn't come easy. Your oppressors will not hand you freedom on a platter now. You will rise up and take it.
Comfort says what they have used to become the richest in their time, this is what the armed forces chiefs are. Maybe she's saying this is why the armed forces chiefs are rich. Do we have any other thing that we can use to be able to draw accountability from our security chiefs? Because as it is now, we would occupy National Assembly, no wahala. What about the security agencies? all these people over the years that have been given so much budget to protect the lives and properties of Nigerians, and they are unable to do that? Is it that we're going to turn a blind eye and just allow them to walk away? Because if we want to declare war against insecurity, the war has to be spread across every stakeholder.
Yes.
It is not just the National Assembly. The security personnel that swore an oath to protect lives and property in Nigeria, they are not doing that job. So how can Nigerians, intentionally also hold them accountable?
Do you know the simple answer to that question? Every dysfunctionality you see in every system of Nigeria stems from the root parent cause, which is the bad government. The failure of the military is the politicizing of that unit or department of government by the same politicians. That is why the sanitization will start from fixing the politicians. When you get a person who is competent, they begin to sanitize it. Because guess what? This so-called corruption that is in law enforcement and others, a lot of them end with just the senior officers. Do you know that the officers in these law enforcement agencies are also victims of human rights violations? How much is the salary of a police constable? Even a lieutenant colonel in the army. Do you know how many of them have died? Their wives, pensions are held, families are thrown out of the barracks. Some do not even know those that died with Boko Haram. It was when they needed the apartment in Dodam barracks, they come and tell you, you should move out. They too, if they want to be honest with themselves, have to join to fight for their own rights. Nigerian police, how much is their salary? DPO, Commissioner of Police. If you do not do criminality, you cannot exist on that salary. The kind of luxurious lifestyle they are living.
Peter, INEC is supposed to be an independent body. INEC is a poor. Is a collection of a lot of poor people.
Yes.
You understand? That have been given so much power.
Yeah.
How do you expect somebody that is living in penury and poverty? I heard something, because it's not confirmed, I would say allegedly, that in a particular state, where an INEC official is earning, say, 700,000 per month, that INEC official was given $50,000, right, to rig an election in favor of a particular candidate. Tell me, 700,000, what's it called, $50,000. If we have poverty as because I'm trying to understand, how do we get to that point where we are no longer thinking self, but we are thinking nation, right? Because we are very selfish in this country. Everybody is just out to look out for what will be my own gain. So how do you get this person that has a poverty mindset, that is already locked up in that trap, to say, this is the opportunity for me to make something? How do they do things right by the people?
It will be almost impossible to get certain people to do things right. And see, that is the wish of the politicians. Everything that is going on in Nigeria as chaos is a blessing to the political establishment. The more confusion there is, the better for them. The more poverty, the more there are people who they can use. But the good thing about when you hear me insisting on INEC is that a lot of Nigerians know better. Nigerians tried to make a change in 2023. They were shortchanged by INEC. There are people who receive money for buy votes.
INEC is not one person.
Yes.
INEC is a combination of youth corpers. INEC is a combination of professors in the university. INEC is a combination of, so different people make up
combination INEC. That there is to INEC. Get the electoral law and safeguard it. Put guardrails on it. Look at it and look at the loopholes. There are loopholes that are there.
But you know that even the electoral laws that we had, that we used for the 2023 general election, if we were to go by those electoral laws, however flawed it might seem, there were still some things that the judiciary would have said, you know what, on this ground, there were certain flaws, but they threw everything out in the courts. So even if we today, we fix the electoral laws to say, okay, these are the laws that would govern our elections going forward, and we have a faulty judiciary.
Have you seen protests will last for 1 year? Have you seen?
Do we have the state power to last in a protest in 1 year in Nigeria?
No, that is what I want to tell you. In Serbia right now, last year, a rail line collapsed and killed about how many people? Today in Serbia, they are still protesting. Nigerians do not know that nation building is not a sprint, it's a marathon. It will not be automatic. You will get one. That is a step. You build on it. If you decide to give up completely because the challenges in front are too daunting, you won't take any step. You will begin from somewhere. The judiciary is bad. See, a lot of people talk about police and say police is very bad, which is true. There is corruption there. But the police corruption or law enforcement is more glaring because they hold firearms that could cause instant fatalities. Taken from them, every sector in Nigeria is as bad. The civil service is worse than police.
Of course.
The judiciary are unarmed police. Petroleum sector, health sector, go to hospitals. So what are we saying? Everything is bad. But you must decide to look at what exactly will become the solutions. What do we do first?
How do we uproot
it from the roots? If not, we are barely treating symptoms and leaving the cause. And we take it one after the other. That is how we will help ourselves. No great nation was built overnight. It is resilience. It is wisdom. Nigeria is a sophisticated criminal enterprise as it is. It has been in existence for more than 60 years. If Nigerian politicians do not know good governance, they know corruption. If you want to come to fight them, you must come ready with knowledge armed to the teeth. Let every Nigerian today begin to sing about electoral reform and see the reaction from politicians. Let President Tinubu come out on national television and say, I believe I am a Democrat. I am committing to free and fair elections in 2027, and we will begin that process. Pass the challenge to Godswill Akpabio in the Senate. Pass it to the Speaker, House of Reps. If truly people are honest, if they can't do that, then you must insist on doing it. That is their only guarantee.
So do you see insecurity ending anytime soon in Nigeria?
Unfortunately, no.
Why?
Unfortunately, no, because the root causes of insecurity are not being handled. They are not being talked about. We are just treating, dressing and washing and setting. The underlying factors are still exacerbating the insecurity. The only thing you will see is that it will change form. If you decide to attack it in this way, it will come in and it will metamorphose in another direction. If it changes from farmer header, it will become another kind of thing. That is what you will see. Problem that is changing name and location. The root cause continue to fester. We are not touching it.
On that note, Peter, I thought you were going to give me a tiny bit of hope.
I'm sorry.
A tiny bit of hope. But honestly speaking, it's a sad situation that we are in Nigeria, and it seems like, we're complaining and it's not. But do you see any of those rants, Peter? Do you see it bringing any form of results?
Any rant that does not have action will not produce any result. It is just noise. You are just talking. They continue to do what they do. If you don't fix it, 2027, they are back. After that, they install a successor.